welcome to Demo Day 2026 of the Tahona Society Launchpad Program. What you are about to witness is the result of 6 months of hard work, late nights, bold ideas, and real growth. Over the course of this program, more than 67 teams from 12 countries rolled up their sleeves and dove deep into the fundamentals of building a business, from validating their ideas to sharpening their strategies and finding their voice as founders. Today, 4 of those teams, representing 4 countries, take the stage to pitch their ventures to you. But first, a word about what brought us all here. The Tahona Society Launchpad Program is part of the Tahona Society's broader commitment to social entrepreneurship. We believe that business can be a force for good, and that the right support at the right moment can change everything for an emerging founder. If you ever thought about starting something of your own, we want you to know this is the place for you. We offer 3 distinct programs to meet entrepreneurs wherever they are in their journey. Ideation, for those just getting started, Pitch Perfect, for founders ready to sharpen their story, and Launchpad, for teams ready to go to market. And twice a year, we host a competition where the winning team can walk away with $50,000 to fuel their vision. The entrepreneurs you'll hear from today aren't just pitching a business. They are looking for investors who believe in what they're building, partners who can help them grow, and a community that will stand behind them. So thank you so much for being here. Your presence matters more than you know. Now, let's meet our founders. Enjoy the pitches.
Hi folks, my name is Devon. I'd like to begin with a simple concept. What if every drink could be an ecological act, one that carries value forward? Across the Caribbean, we have incredible diversity of fruits, herbs, and botanicals. But beyond these ingredients, there is a wider network, from ecosystems and cultivation to processing, hospitality, and culture. It creates a space to share regional knowledge and provenance, to inspire new beverage concepts from what grows here, and to pioneer a way to connecting agriculture and hospitality collectively. I call this the garden to glass value chain, where value moves from landscape to experience. 2 ecosystems already operate side by side. Agriculture produces high-quality ingredients, often surplus, misshapen fruits, or neglected varieties that never reach markets. Hospitality creates reliable, high-frequency consumption. These environments already rely on stable, ready-to-use formats to operate at scale. The opportunity is to bring regional ingredients into that same standard, so they don't just exist locally. They travel consistently through the glass. This is where it starts, in the garden, among herbs, flowers, and ingredients that support pollinators and the wider ecosystem. I build across this value chain, from how things grow to how they show up in the drinks. 3, 2, 1. And this is where it ends, in the glass. What stood out to me is how powerful this becomes when it operates consistently. That's what led me to build a system around it. That's where the TAP Mobile Drink Lab comes in. It operates between farms and experiences, preparing ingredients in service-ready formats. Each step carries regional flavors into experiences people choose. It acts as a standardized bridge, repeatable across markets and built to regenerate value. Once the lab is in place, things begin to flow. Ingredients are sourced directly from growers, prepared into formats ready to serve, then brought into drinks. From there, demand builds and moves upstream, feeding back into sourcing and production. This creates a continuous link between growers and hospitality in both directions. In simple terms, it converts agricultural output into hospitality-ready formats and returns demand into agriculture. As that operational cycle grows, so does the infrastructure around it. More sourcing at the farm level, more use in hospitality, more value retained within the region. That activity strengthens quality and supply over time, and brand participation accelerates this, bringing investment earlier into sourcing, production, and growth. This creates a virtuous cycle of Caribbean hospitality, where brands, experience makers, guests, and growers all reinforce one another. Trinidad is our first anchor cluster, with strong hospitality traditions, agricultural diversity, and vibrant expressions of identity through food, drink, and carnival. The lab moves between venues on a recurring cycle, connecting, sourcing, preparation, and service. This keeps ingredients circulating while building familiarity within the venues themselves. And with each cycle, we see what works, what resonates, and refine from there. This is already in operation and ready to scale with the right partners. This is where the value chain becomes visible and measurable. We partner with brands through category-aligned participation. Entry begins at $30,000 per category over a 12-month cycle, giving partners a clear way to engage and benefit from the model. This includes brand presence, activation within hospitality, and direct connection into the lab's operating cycle. Each category becomes a defined position within the framework, creating a structured pathway for partners to grow as the model expands. As more categories participate, activity accelerates. This increases system output without increasing core infrastructure. More categories mean more drinks created, more ingredients moving, more moments captured from the garden to the final serve. This is where content, visibility, and engagement begin to scale naturally from real activity. As the model operates, it generates continuous insight on ingredient use and consumer response. This enables real-time experimentation within environments and creates a pipeline for future product development, including ready-to-drinks. At the same time, farm-level insights are captured, showing how local harvests flow through the chain and into value. Turning activity into insight across both hospitality and sourcing, and insight into measurable impact. From there, it scales through density, more categories, more activity within each location, and then expansion into new clusters across the Caribbean. This approach also extends beyond major hospitality capitals, engaging the next generation of bars in emerging and secondary markets. Because the system is already operational, it can be deployed, repeated, and adapted to new environments. Early participation positions brands within how that expansion unfolds. What we are building is lasting infrastructure, a way of connecting agriculture, hospitality, and culture into a continuous cycle. In places like Trinidad, that connection becomes visible through culture itself, where food, drink, and identity already move together naturally. Carnival is one expression of that. Diaspora is another. The Drink Lab connects these cultural moments back to agricultural value in a structured, repeatable way, so that what grows in the garden can move through hospitality into culture consistently. This is how regional ingredients become globally understood, from surplus to service to culture, through a living model that unlocks authentic Caribbean conviviality.
Hello, I am Martial Delahaye, co-founder of Bartendly. With Bartendly, we are building the infrastructure of the global cocktail industry. This is not just another app or directory, it structures what already happens between events, bars, bartenders, and brands. And to show you what I mean, let's start with one simple event flyer. This is a guest shift flyer, when one bar invites bartenders from another bar. For a guest, it's a night out. For a bartender, it's a chance to work, connect, and be seen. For a brand, it's an activation. Same moment, different realities. But when I look at it, I see something else. I see a network. When events connect a venue, guest bars, bartenders, and brands. This is not theoretical. This happens every day in the cocktail world. But today, most of these connections disappear after the event. Bartendly captures them and keeps them connected over time. The problem is not that nothing happens. A lot happens. But it happens in a fragmented, temporary way. For bartenders, many opportunities stay hidden in private groups or Instagram stories. For bars, visibility is often local and short-lived. For brands, activation happens everywhere, but the long-term pictures is missing. So the industry is active, but it has no structure, no memory, and no continuity. And because of that, a lot of value never compounds. The event itself matters, but the real value is what the event reveals. Which bar hosted it, which bartenders were involved, which brand supported it. If you structure that once, it has some value. If you structure it thousands of times across the world, then you start building the data layer of the industry. Let me show you how we go from an event to a structured network with a demo of Bartendly app. This is the home tab of Bartendly. I see the events happening tonight and the next day in my city, here Bangkok, and I can see also the list of bars in my city. When I go to the event tab, I see a calendar view of the upcoming events. I can see the same for the whole world or any selected city. Let's now post a new event. I will do so by uploading a flyer. So I choose a flyer, for instance that one, and I publish the event. What happens in the background is that data is retrieved via calling an API from OpenAI. I can now access my event. So the bar is found, its address is retrieved, the bartender's list is here, and the brand who sponsored it appears. When I go to the bar page, I see that the event is linked and will stay over time. I can do the same from the brand page, Altos. I see all past and future events sponsored by Altos. And I can still access a past event and see all the information linked to this event, like this one that happens in Hong Kong in last October. What you just saw is not mock data. These are real events, real bar, real brands. We already have more than 3,000 event structures in Bartendly and more than 2,000 curated bars worldwide. We'll already start also forming a network for brands. Every new event creates more connections, more visibility, and more value. This is where the business model starts. Once this structure exists, the business model becomes layered. Bars can subscribe for visibility, promotions, loyalty tools, and customer relationships. Experiences generate revenue through private or corporate events and trade shows. And as the network grows, brands can use Bartendly for campaigns, activation tracking, and data intelligence. So the model is not dependent on one single revenue stream. Our go-to-market follows the way the industry already works. The cocktail world is global, connected, and constantly moving. Bartenders travel, bars collaborate, brands activate internationally. So instead of trying to dominate one city before moving to the next one, we use content and events to trigger global habits. With World of Mixologists, we already have a global and respected presence in the industry. We use posts and daily stories to make Bartendly visible again and again. Little by little, a habit forms. If you want to know what is happening in the cocktail world, you check Bartendly. This is how growth becomes global from day one, driven by events, habits, and network effects. We look at revenue the same way we look at the network, as something that grows in layers. In the foundation phase, bars create the recurring revenue base through subscriptions. In the expansion phase, Bartendly experience generates revenue by providing bartending service for events, and we already did in Hong Kong and Barcelona. And at scale, brands become the highest value layer through campaigns, activation tracking, and insights. Each layer strengthens the next one. More bars, more events, more data, more value for the brands. Today, the industry already uses powerful tools. Instagram is great for visibility, WhatsApp is great for coordination, Google is useful for static information. But none of them were designed to create memory. They distribute information, they don't structure it. Bartendly does. We believe that we have the right team as we sit at the interaction between the cocktail industry and technology. On my side, I have more than 25 years of experience building IT solutions, and through World of Mixologists, I built a bridge into the hospitality industry with more than 58,000 followers. That gives us direct access to bartenders, to bars, and what is happening in the industry. The product is also shaped by feedback from active bartenders who help us to test and to improve it. My co-founder, leads the product development. He's fast, focused, and hands-on. And AI is a major leverage point for us. Today we use it for flyer parsing. Tomorrow we will use it for insights from data layer. So we have the industry layer, access, the product execution, and the technology to build it. Bartendly also creates real social impact. In hospitality, opportunity is not only about talent. It is also about visibility, access, and network. Today, many bartenders rely on close groups, personal contacts, or local reputation. That leaves many people invisible. Bartendly changes that by making opportunities more visible and more accessible. For bartenders, that means more gigs, guest shift, and income opportunities. For bars and guests, it means better discovery and better experience. So the impact is simple. Less gatekeeping, more visibility, more opportunity. To make this happen at scale, we now need to go all in. We already have a product foundation, real data, and access to the industry. Now the question is speed. We are raising up to 750,000 euros together with strategic partners to do three things. Reach the product maturity, build the data intelligence layer, and expand Bartendly into an experience and services marketplace. At the same time, this allows the core team to focus fully on execution and drive global growth. Strategic support is as important as capital. We need partners who can help us reach the global industry faster. The goal is clear: make Bartendly the default layer of the cocktail industry. Bartendly is becoming the infrastructure of the cocktail industry, starting with events, expanding with bars, bartenders, brands, and experiences. Connected, structured, visible. Thank you for your time.
Hi, I'm Caleb Douglas, founder of Mary Company Cocktails. We're an organization that focuses on food scarcity and food waste, with 40% of this food produced in this country ending up in landfills and 1.2 million pounds in my home state of Tennessee alone. All while 40% of Tennesseans report feeling food insecure, and 71 stating that they've changed their food habits due to rising cost, leaving 1 in 6 dealing with hunger, according to Feed America. Hunger is an economic manifestation of poverty, and poverty is endemic in many parts of North Nashville. In a September 2025 study done by Metro Nashville's Social Services, the report identified my zip code as a bleak outlook due to policy changes by SNAP and USDA programs. Being able to create a program that can provide affordable, fresh, healthy produce to communities right now who can't afford it is very important. By organizing with community gardens and local farmers, we look to buy all grades of produce and create new revenue streams for these farmers. Talking to many farmers over a Tennessee local food summit helped me identify that this is a need farmers need access to bigger markets to sell their produce, and takes a lot of that headache out of their hands with the farmers market. CSA boxes can also cost up to $800, most of that due up front, and most people can't afford that. So we're trying to create a way to offset the cost of those boxes by creating value-added products like shrubs, syrups, infusions, doing cocktails, doing non-alcoholic cocktails, to offset the cost of a CSA box for residents in my zip code. We're launching a pilot program this summer, working with a local nonprofit venue, Dark Matter Collective, to create a CSA weekly box program for at least 20 folks. The pilot costs have been broken down to around $400 a week for 20 8-pound boxes of food, with pop-up events occurring every other week to generate around $1,500 in income per pop-up event. This pilot will prove cash flow positive with $1,000 a month in revenue and generate 640 pounds of food to people who need it, who couldn't afford it, in communities who don't have access to fresh local produce. We're looking to do this model as a way to address this need urgently in a low-cost way that is something we can roll out very quickly. We plan to bootstrap this organization to a permanent grocery corner store model that will be a pay-what-you-can grocery store, partnering with local farmers to create access in this community. Also, we plan to transition to a cocktail bar at evening to reduce the waste generated by the grocery store. Grocery stores produce a good amount of food waste as well. So by changing the miles this food has to travel, getting really creative with, if a tomato is about to go bad and doesn't sell at the grocery, typically they have to throw it out. And we will be allowed to create a shrub or a vinegar or something that can be used in a dirty martini or a cocktail that keeps that food out of the landfill and gives it a second life. And allows us to really help local farmers in our area get creative and find new uses and new value-added products that we can collaborate and bring to help offset the cost of this food for people in this community. We're doing a crowdfunding campaign to help us purchase refrigeration, freezers, different equipment that might allow us to do new processes, such as a rotovap, to do distillates and really kind of expand the value-added products we can do. So if you like what we're doing and want to support it, you can always follow the QR code, give us a follow on our Instagram, and also access the crowdfunding campaign and donate to that if you feel. I want to thank Tahona Society for having this and all the people involved, all their time, all their hard work. Fantastic experience. I recommend it to anyone in the industry who wants to better themselves as a bartender and just better themselves as a person. Could not recommend it highly enough. And thank you so much for your time.
Hospitality is built on care, generosity, and human connection. But behind the scenes, we've stopped taking care of the people who make it possible. So before we begin, I'd like to invite you to take a breath with me. Inhale, exhale. Give you the time to arrive. And I would like to personally thank you for being here with me today and taking the time to listen to me. My name is Audrey Hans, and I believe that to serve well, we must live well. And yet, today, millions of people are forced to choose between their passion and their well-being. And this is a global industry. Hundreds of millions of workers across every continent in hospitality. The scale is massive, and so is the opportunity. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. Unfortunately, it is true that we suffer from burnout, instability, lack of structure, and silence on a daily basis. And we have normalized what should have never been normal. The industry doesn't lack talent. It lacks visibility, it lacks structure, and systems to support the people. And that comes at a cost. With around 40% staff turnover and other sacrifices costing businesses 25% annually. That's not just a people issue. That's a direct hit on margins. Now imagine recovering even 10% of that. What if we could change that? What if well-being became measurable and even actionable? So I'd like to introduce you to Brindemos Bienestar, which is a toast to well-being in Spanish. We are a data-powered well-being platform for hospitality through communication, education, and long-term growth. We're designed to drive long-term success for both people and businesses thanks to our pillars, technology, and different customer plans. We structure what has always been invisible with our 3 key pillars: diagnose, equip, and empower. First things first. Through safe communication, we diagnose anonymous feedback and send monthly reports with actionable solutions. We equip businesses with tools and trainings focused on professional and personal growth, with protocols and manuals. And third, we support business and career longevity through consultancy and tailored one-to-one mentoring. The impact is measurable with noticeable results, which ensure optimistic operational performance. Powered by data and AI, we help businesses prevent and provide data to thrive. Brindemos Bienestar is not a single solution, but a connected ecosystem from data and insights to action and continuous improvements. Over time, this becomes something even more valuable. We will provide industry intelligence with trends, benchmarks, and competitive insight. Our model is simple, flexible, and scalable, with different plans for you to choose from. be it the monthly membership, an ad hoc masterclass or consultancy, or if you choose to apply for the annual recognition plaque. Ask me for more information. I am proud to announce that we have just launched our Focus pilot right here in Mexico last month. And this year, we will scale nationally. By 2027, we will expand internationally, starting in 3 countries, and reach break-even under 2 years, as we are designed to scale with the industry. Our ambition is to build a global, scalable ecosystem. Our ambition is to build a global, scalable ecosystem for hospitality, supporting thousands and eventually millions of workers, and improve our industry together. After 20 years working in a world I fell in love with deeply, unfortunately, I have learned that behind every statistic, there is a real person. But this is not just my story. This is a story of too many people in the industry. It might even be yours too. I'd like to remind you that no one should ever have to choose between their passion and their well-being. Brindemos Bienestar exists to make a difference. Because where there is clarity, there is efficiency. Where there is structure, there is growth. And when people thrive, businesses don't just survive, they perform. Vivir bien es servir bien.